Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Clothing can affect the way you feel and act. Yep, I know it. You might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute. This is supposed to be a marketing podcast. Why are we now talking about clothes? And why does it even matter? Well, I'm here to tell you that if you're a coach, consultant, or small to medium business that's passionate about doing work that you're meant to be doing and earning a living, living an inspired life in the process, then you're in the right place, my friend. My mission is to help coaches and consultants like you to build a brand that you're proud of and create a lifestyle that you love. And it actually starts with the way you feel about who you are and how you are presenting yourself, either in person or online, okay? Because you are who your customers feel you are, and perception in this game is actually of utmost importance, okay? So maybe you're out there cold calling potential clients and having them hang up in your face. I want you to put the phone down and look at what you're wearing. If you're wearing a t-shirt and the t-shirt is filled with food or oil, grease from last night's dinner, or the dust from the Cheetos that you were eating while you're watching Netflix last night, that could be the reason. Or maybe you're sending out hundreds of emails and not even getting as much as, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. I want you to stop, writing those emails and look at your feet. Are you wearing shoes or you're wearing flip-flops? That, my friend, could actually be affecting the results that you're actually getting. Or maybe you're wasting thousands of dollars on ad spend without even generating any qualified leads. Well, this one I can't really, vouch for. But how you look and how you show up in the world, either in person or online, can actually affect the way you feel and you act. And this is scientifically proven. And given the last couple of years, you know not to question the science. And especially if the science is coming from the Online Prosperity Experience, don't question it, because I represent science right now, especially when it comes to clothing and how you feel and how it affects your mood and everything else that comes along with it, okay? So at the end of the day, you might be questioning, why is this important? Because your photos on your website represent you. That's what people see, right? That's what people connect with. How you might think that, oh no, I don't judge people, but guess what? We're being judged every single day by the people that we're reaching out to. They're looking at how we sound, they're looking at what we wear, and they are looking for clues on how to make sense of the world around them. So you better be, giving the right perception and the right message, and not trying, to delimit or to undo all the hard work that you've been doing. Yes, you might be, doing your consulting, your training, your information, your expertise, and you're maybe showing up to paid speaking gigs out there. People judge you by the way you are appearing. And guess what? If you're not feeling confident, maybe in the way that you're wearing, or you're wearing shoes that are too tight and you're not comfortable, it shows and it sounds in the way that you speak. I kid you not. Every single day that I wake up, I take a shower. I, dress up. I put on my favorite cologne, and I just walk 3 steps and I'm in my office. I'm not even leaving the house, but I'm dressed like Channel 9 has got a helicopter through my office window, and they're, filming a documentary of me every single day. You know why? Because what I do matters. how I show up in the world matters, because then anyone can say, hey, I want to have a chat with you. I can instantly just power up my Zoom and I'm ready for that call, and I'm feeling confident, and I know that what I'm doing matters and what I'm going to be disseminating matters. Is that how you approach your work? Because yes, you might think that might not be important, but how you speak right now, I'm feeling very confident. I'm wearing Kenneth Cole pants and Van Heusen shirt, and I've got a Edifice Casio watch, and I'm wearing one of my favorite socks that actually is funny. It says I'm actually a big deal. My kids love them because they're always laughing at me, and I'm wearing my Colorado shoes. Right? If somebody just rocks up to my house, they would think I literally, oh, of course, I run a multi-million-dollar business anyway. So that's exactly, I'm dressed like $1 million. So how you feel and how you show up in the world is basically how people will respect you. Have you ever noticed when somebody comes to you, even if they're wealthy, they're rich and everything else, but they're in tattered clothes or in old clothes, you have this perception of them not being well kept, and you just not, have any time for them. But if somebody is swanky looking, they've got their colors matched and everything else just is, speaking in a different tone or language, we pay attention to people that are well dressed. You know why? Because they're looking after themselves, and in the process we automatically assume if they're a consultant or a coach, if they can look after themselves, then definitely they'll be able to look after me. If you just show up weird looking and you haven't really looked after yourself, and maybe it looks well and good in your tribe and in your people, but before people know you, you have to approach them at a level that they understand. So maybe, it might not be you that goes out and reaches out to clients. Your sales team actually meets with clients regularly, all right? And, to gain business, each of these people must actually make a first impression, and it has to be a good one, because you don't have an opportunity to make a second impression. So if you're going out to build client relationships, it actually takes time. And in each encounter that you're meeting up with people, people are judging, people are evaluating you, how you look after yourself. Because if you can look after yourself, then definitely you'll be able to look after maybe their website, you'll be able to look after their health, their wealth, or their relationships. And people are looking for cues and clues to see whether they can learn anything from you before they've actually paid you any money. So since these things take time, but the first initial encounter is very important. Your handshake, the way you're dressed, the way you show up, how punctual you are, all of those things. And for that reason, you want your employees, or maybe yourself, to wear, stuff that impacts their jobs and stuff that actually elevates them. And actually they can leverage off of that without having opened up their mouth. And when you learn how to dress properly, it may seem like a simple thing that's not worth mentioning. And that's the reason why I said, if you really want to make a difference in this world, the way you show up, the way your photos are presented online, etc., that, my friend, will actually make or break whether people treat you as a trusted advisor or a has-been who nobody wants to know about and, maybe buy stuff from or get to know, like, or even trust. It should be part of your daily activities, just showing up. Even if you don't make a sale, even if you don't, end up talking to a client, but the way you feel good about yourself is passing on that positive karma that would then maybe bank up in the future for you to actually create for and relate to the audiences and actually give you an opportunity to stay in business, all right? So yes, you might sideline it and say, it doesn't matter, I'm working from home, I can work in shorts and things of that nature. But it actually, your brain is seeing you even if your clients are not seeing you at that particular moment, And, when people start communicating with you or talking to you, how you are positioned at that particular moment is exactly the energy that you pass on. Whether you think you're doing the right thing or not, your energy can be felt over a text message. Your energy can be felt over a Zoom call. And you just want to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward each and every time without, jeopardizing all the hard work that it takes for you to actually be in front of these audiences or the people that you're going to be, getting them to know, like, and trust who you are. And after all, the way you actually look, it does influence a first impression, and you can't have a second opportunity to make a first impression. All right, so as you check out maybe my website and everything else, you will notice that I actually showed up on that website. You can feel the energy in the photos that I put out there. You can see the way I dressed, even if I don't wear a tie, every day in my life. But on my photos, I'm wearing a tie and I'm blending it in with the vest, and I'm really got good accessories. It just doesn't look like something that was just done for that particular day. It feels like I showed up because I wanted to, do that. So this is also something that I encourage you to do. You should have what is called a branding session, where you really sit down and define the character that you're going to show up in the world as. And when you know what that character is, you stick to that character. You make sure that people associate that character with whatever it is that you're showing up in the world to do and to give them, okay? Because at the end of the day, nobody really cares much about who you are as long as they can recognize a pattern in what it is that you're doing. I don't know if you remember when Mark Zuckerberg was starting, he was just wearing a gray t-shirt and black pants or a hoodie, and that became his character. That became who he was. Even though he then changed and started wearing tailor-made suits, but that made it easy for people to recognize him in a sea of Me Too people out there. So I'd like you to look at it very closely, because what your clothing, represents is what it's actually telling your clients about your message, about how you care about them, and how you actually care about your own success as a person. Because why would people help you succeed if you don't care about your own success, for yourself? So I encourage you to have a branding session. A branding session is when you go to a photographer and then you have like a whole full day where you take a lot of photos that you can use, in your marketing. So you want to make sure that you've got the right attire, you've got the right story that you're telling in that, attire, you've got the perfect haircut, because most of these photos will last maybe 2 to 3 years, and you just want to make sure that they represent how you look at that particular time. And you're not going to be chopping and changing that look, because you know why? You have already decided on the character and who you're going to be showing up in the world as. So one of the most frequently asked questions, when I start discussing photos for a website, is people ask me, what should I wear? And honestly, it's such a tough question to answer, especially for a number of reasons. Basically who you are and who you want the world to think you are. Because figure this out. When I came into the world, I told you my name was Prosper. Okay, you never stopped to say, nah, but I don't think Prosper is a name. I'm gonna call you John, or I'm gonna call you, Ben, or some other name like that, Peter or Luke, or anything else that comes your way, or Sally. Okay, you never decided you were gonna give me yet another name. I told you who I was. I showed you who I was becoming, and you accepted that at face value, and then you acted according to that. You never went on and said, let me change who you are. So people already accept what you show up as. They're not going to try and change you or anything else unless they're in a relationship with you, okay? So they just take you at face value. So that's why it's important when you have a branding session for your photographs, for your website, you really should know what is the story and the outcome that I want my customers or my clients to have a perception around who I am. And the good news is there's no right answer. And the bad news is it's not as straightforward to answer, and it's not a one size fits all. Because we are all different characters. We all have different values. We all have different missions and goals in life. So before we get into the specifics of what exactly to wear, there are a few other things that you need to ask yourself before you decide on the outfit or the outfits that you should be showing up on your website as. And the first thing you want to think about, and the most important, is what is the story you're telling? You see, the story I'm telling is a story of somebody who can help you, go from 200K to 2 million within 2 years. Now, if you look in my space, that is an easy 10% increment in your revenue, and that can be done in 2 years. But the kind of money that I'm starting to talk about is the kind of money that is spoken about by lawyers, by accountants, by people that wear a suit to work. You get what I mean? So if I just show up with a t-shirt, my client's brain is already associating that sort of money and talk with financial planners and people that are in a space where it's respectable to show up to work and with a suit and looking good and a tie. So that's why you see most of my work and my photos, I'm depicting a suit. Even though when we talk, maybe you will find me in a t-shirt or something like that. But the first impression for the person who's going to see me, when they look at those figures and they see me wearing a t-shirt, they'll be like, nah, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But if I show up with a tie clip, cufflinks, people and a good looking watch, people would say the amount of detail that I've paid into looking that good. Guess what? That would also be transferred, to the plan that we will make, for their marketing or things of that nature. Because it is inherent in human character that how you do anything is how you do everything. Because if you can't look after yourself and you're talking about a 2 million evaluation and you look like maybe somebody who just woke up and things of that nature, how are you going to be looking after my business? How are you going to be looking after my marketing? How are you going to be looking after, everything else that they are buying from you, their health, their wealth, and relationships? Remember, you need to get clear on the future that your customers want to buy, not the features of what you're selling, and your customers will tell you exactly what future they're after. You know why? Because people are looking for solutions that will make them happier, richer, thinner, and better looking than other people. And what good a place for you to actually show them that you have arrived where they want to be. All they got to do is pay you money in order for them to learn from you. So it's very important to understand what is the story that you're telling and what do you want your audience to know about you and how do you want them to feel? How do you want to feel? And I know it feels like a big question, but it will actually help you guide yourself to the right answer. And half of the time, a picture says 1,000 words. You could write all the content you want on your website. You could write all the content you want in your emails. But if somebody just sees one picture of you looking like you don't belong, guess what? Grand opening, grand closing. You dig? I know it feels like it's something that is not essential, but we're already 17 minutes in. This stuff is important, bruh. This stuff is important, sis. This stuff, my Internet Explorer, if you really want to stand out, you will notice that half of the time you are the one that's presenting yourself to people that are judging you. So why not put your best clothes, your Sunday best on, so that at least when they judge you, they're probably looking at things that, right, okay, look at her. I just want to be like you. And then it becomes aspirational. And when it becomes aspirational, you're now in a position to justify their failures. You're now in a position to encourage their dreams because they can see that you are already where they want to be. So I hope I'm able to guide you in the right direction so that when you put your pictures out there on your website and you go maybe for a branding session for your team or any other marketing collateral, you are actually putting your best foot, forward. Let me give you maybe an example. We've got Sally. Sally is a VA and is an absolute admin and automation wizard. We all know people like that, okay, within our space. I'm actually talking about a real person. I love her to bits, but I'm just using a different name just so that you might recognize what I'm talking about. And she also loves helping people with their bookkeeping. And Sally has decided she really wants to stand out and wants to empower women to celebrate their success, their financials, their business, their personal lives, all the wins that they might experience. So Sally decides she's going to wear one of her favorite dresses, and she's also, she also likes to get, a party hat and some confetti to create that little celebration story around her photos. Have you seen other coaches who've got that going on for their website? It's telling a story. Confetti means celebration. That party hat means, she's part business, business in front and, party at the back, whatever you want to say. But you can actually just get to like that person just predicated on what it is that they're wearing. So if you're just looking for, if you're just looking at that outfit alone, it might not make sense. But once you know the story behind it, it actually makes a lot more sense. So before you decide what to wear, think about your story. Who are you and what are you representing and where are you taking people to? Okay? Don't just think about what you're representing at that particular time. Where are you taking your audience to? So Sally might also choose to wear jeans with a t-shirt that says eat, sleep, rave, marketing, or whatever it is, for one story, or part of her about me section of her website, and then something with a little bit of an edge to show her love for fashion, maybe some accessories that come along with it, things of that nature. Oh, something with her brand colors, and then something that actually ties with her love of summer and the outdoors. Can you see how she's connecting with the right kind of people, with the right kind of pain, and also the right kind of story? Because we're human at the end of it all. So don't forget maybe accessorizing and perhaps if you love hats, if you see some of my photos, I've got hats, I've got a myriad of hats, I've got cufflinks, watches, you name it, because those can be conversation starters. Those can be things that people can associate because people like us do things like this. If you catch up with clients that are looking for consulting and training and they love hats and they see you wearing hats, they feel like you are kindred to them. You can now connect with them at that sort of level, Or maybe you have a sentimental piece of jewelry, or maybe you've got sunnies, or maybe you love scarves, whatever it is, whatever helps you start a conversation with somebody in person, you can also use that online. And make sure when you go and do this branding session, your photographer actually understands what sort of stories, what sort of context are you trying to bring out, so that they can capture those images that you truly want. And one thing that I also advise is when you, go to have these branding sessions for photos on your website, or when you're going out to people, meeting people in person, you want to maybe look at stock photos and replicate those stock photos so that you can use your real face, your real personality, your real brand in your social media, in your website, everywhere else that you go. Like, I think 90% of all the photos on any page on my website, if you have a look, they are all photos of me. All right, I took a day out of my life and I did this whole branding session with different outfits, and guess what I did? I just took a lot of stock footage that I just, sprinkled throughout my website, and people now get to know and associate my face with success. They associate my face with everything else that comes along with my brand. All right. So you want to make sure that you've got that message going out there. Don't be too casual, because if you're too casual, people think you don't care. I mean, even if you've got a casual dress code, I mean, your team or yourself should actually dress up, especially when you're meeting clients on Zoom or in person. And not all, companies or people accept that relaxed atmosphere. Yes, I know people are working from home or whatever it is, but we still have our values and things of that nature. You want to keep that business look about you, especially on your, on your websites and things like. Unless you live on a beach, then maybe that's the aspirational side of things that people want. But if you're going to be working in a place that looks like an office, make sure your customers have the full confidence that you actually, you belong there, because people are always looking for belonging. People are always looking for connection. People are always looking for peace of mind, and people are always looking for status. And clothes actually give us that eyeball test which people are always yearning for, to see if you are, the right kind of person with the right kind of, solution that they're looking for. And one other thing is, if you start wearing dated clothes or things that are not sort of in fashion, it sort of means you're not in touch or in tune with what's actually happening in the world, okay? So whether you're an old person or you're very, very young, just try and dress in a way that your customers feel, okay, this is a starting point, okay? And if your look doesn't add up, guess what? They're not going to give you a time in their day in life, especially if they're just watching a video of you on YouTube or things like that, all right? So either way, the look has to paint a picture of a serious person with serious, answers that they're looking for, because that's what they care. And one other thing is, if your clothes look like they're not fitting or it's the wrong size, it looks like you lack confidence in your appearance. I mean, you may think wearing clothes that are too small projects confidence, but really it shows that you're insecure about your actual size. If you dress in clothes that are way too big, in that case, you may be trying to hide something. The most, put together look is the one that fits your body and your body type perfectly. And, you also feel comfortable. Let me tell you a story. When during, it wasn't the holidays, but on Halloween, I dressed up as Bleepy. Bleepy is this character, a TV character. I've got a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old, at the time that I'm recording this podcast. So obviously that's what they're watching on TV. He wears a really nice blue shirt, nice jeans, and orange and blue hat with a orange bow tie and a orange cross belt. When we were walking around the neighborhood, all the kids were going Bleepy, Bleepy, because it was different, it was unique. And guess what? I assumed the character of Bleepy. I started dancing, pointing around and making funny moves as if I was Bleepy. Guess what? How you look and how you wear actually affects your mood, actually affects your confidence, and actually affects your character. So if you want to trick your brain to actually start understanding that you mean business, let me tell you something. Just wear the right clothes. It starts with the clothes that you're wearing. It starts with the shoes that you're wearing. Because if you're not going to be comfortable, or you feel your shoes are dirty or things of that nature, guess what? You're just going to present, that lack of confidence, and people can feel that vibe. And you can't sell to people if you're not confident. Feel the energy in this podcast right now. I just started talking about clothes. And voila, I'm in it. We're already 25 minutes in. All right. So I'll tell you something. The right attire builds confidence. It builds the confidence on your website, in your social media. It builds confidence in the way you speak, the way you show up. It's somebody who's going to listen to this podcast. If it's the first time, welcome. Now you can see the energy that I have, and it's all predicated on the fact that I feel good. I look good. Man, you should see me. I should take a photo of how I look right now, but where would I post it? I don't have social media. Let me tell you something. Clothing can actually affect the way you feel and you act. All right. You know the statement, fake it till you make it. It may sound like just a catchy phrase, but it's actually bears some weight. And can be applied to a lot of circumstances, including your wardrobe, bruh. I started wearing an expensive watch before I could even afford it. Yes, I know some people might think, but now I can afford it and I feel like I earned it. You know what I mean? So I literally worked myself to be able to be confident wearing that watch, knowing that I can afford it. So do something. You can jog your memory or just jog your mind to start acting in accordance to what it is that you want. Even when you're driving to go somewhere, you put the address of where you're going in the GPS. You don't put the address of where you are. So you want to dress for the job that you want. You want to dress for the position that you want in society. You might think people don't judge, but everybody's watching. Clothing can actually affect the way you feel and act, and it actually helps you put a better perception of your work, your business, and everything else that comes along with it. building a great work appropriate wardrobe that actually fits your body and personality may actually send a louder message than you thought, and it will actually show you sort of in command, and you're confident and you're bold and you're friendly, and people like doing business with those that they can trust. If you're confident, people will trust you. Have you ever noticed that when you in a park, or there's confusion in a place where there's a lot of people, anybody who stands up with authority and anybody who thinks and knows the direction of where everybody should go and just points at that direction, people follow. So you can only do that if you're confident. You can only do that if you have identified your market and you've identified where you want to take them and lead them, but you gotta have the attire for it. And remember, yes, I understand. No one is paying attention to what you're wearing as you are. Do it more for yourself than for other people. I mean, if you look back to maybe some of the gurus online, you might notice that their last photos, they posed wearing the same clothes, the same day, the same location, the same outfits. And usually it's not something that your fans or your clients may actually notice or care about. What you really need is just projecting that confidence at the time when somebody's interacting with you, at the time when somebody's interacting with your website or your social media. Okay? Finally, just go with what feels comfortable to you. At the end of the day, it's your business, it's your website, it's your outcomes, I mean, obviously, if you hate wearing jeans, don't wear them, in your photos and look awkward. The more comfortable you feel, the easier you move. And the easier you move, the greater the shorts, that are going to be taken. And the easier the energy that you actually portray out there. Let me tell you something. Have fun. Be yourself. You can't go wrong. It's all about your personal brand, at the end of the day. I don't know what prompted me to talk about this today, but if those that have ears have heard, and if you take note of how you show up in the world, your marketing will actually pay for itself and even pay for the clothes and outfits that you're wearing. I can't wait to see what you do with this information today. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au